Welcome to the Snake Festival, folks, the pride of Bloodstone. And say, have you tried Yisler's Youth Serum yet? I hear it cured little Sammy's consumption. The Snake's Oil was written by Michael Frank, and it's a production of the Under the Library, a Call of Cthulhu podcast and actual play series. This is a one-shot scenario designed to run in about 2 to 4 hours, making it a great pick for a game night or a convention. If you like what I do and want to support the channel, check out my Patreon at XPLovecat. Every bit helps keep the dice rolling. The Snake's Oil is set in the dusty frontier town of Bloodstone, South Dakota, during the late spring or summer of 1893. It's got all the hallmarks of the Weird West: ramshackle buildings, cracked dirt roads, and that uneasy stillness just before a thunderstorm rolls in. It's a place where rumors spread faster than the dust storms, and folks will trade their last silver dollar for a shot at salvation. The scenario kicks off with the investigators traveling together by train, strangers with a shared destination, and just enough backstory to make things interesting. Each pre-gen has a personal reason to be chasing a miracle cure, which makes the rumor of a healer in Bloodstone all the more tempting. But before they can get too comfortable, the train breaks down just south of town. Repairs won't be finished until tomorrow, and the only food, lodging, and answers lie up the road in Bloodstone. Alright, from here on out, there will be spoilers. If you're planning to play the Snake's Oil as an investigator, now's your cue to hop off the train. So here's what's really going on behind the scenes. A few years back, Eleanor Yisler, a former Bloodstone local, asked the town healer Jolly to help her conceive a child without a man. Jolly attempted a ritual from a damaged, mistranslated text that called for the sacrifice of 9 rattlesnakes. The ritual failed, and unfortunately it also angered Yig, the father of serpents. Now Eleanor is back in town, 8 months pregnant after a series of tragic half-reptilian miscarriages. Yig appeared to her in a dream and made her an offer. If she sacrifices 90 people, tenfold restitution, plus Jolly, he'll bless her with a healthy child. So Eleanor's playing the role of miracle healer, peddling a fake but euphoric serum, and trying to gather a big enough crowd for a ritual that'll change Bloodstone forever. Preparing the Snake's Oil was quick and easy. It's a fast read, the structure is straightforward, and it's written with a sandbox approach, so there's no set path your investigators have to follow. That flexibility makes it great for improv-heavy keepers or folks running on a short prep time. That said, the layout is pretty minimal, plain white pages, no art to set the mood, and skill rolls aren't bolded, which might trip you up if you're used to scanning Chaosium's usual formatting. It's functional, but not the most visually inspiring prep experience. The scenario opens on the train, which is a great moment to let your players get into character. The pre-gens all have built-in reasons to be there, so you can go straight into roleplay without needing an elaborate hook. Let them introduce themselves, maybe share why they're heading west, or what they've heard about this miracle healer. Then, boom, the train breaks down. They're stuck south of Bloodstone with nothing but a 2-hour walk and the promise of food, lodging, and maybe a cure waiting in town. It's simple, but it works, and the players are motivated. The tension's low-key but building, and you've set the stage for something strange to come. I found it particularly funny to just have one of the locals say that the train breaks down all the time. Something like, oh, that train breaks down every time the wind changes. We call that a scenic delay. It's a fun little moment that adds some local flavor and helps establish Bloodstone as a place with personality before things really start even going. Arriving in Bloodstone, the players are greeted by the town in full celebration mode. It's time for the annual Snake Festival. And this part of the scenario was super fun. It's colorful, weird, and full of personality, with food stands, contests, and NPCs just begging to be roleplayed. It's a great chance to let players explore and soak in the atmosphere before the darker stuff starts to slither in. I highly recommend that you take your time here and let players enjoy the festival. The pre-gen characters each have a little narrative hook that can be tied to specific items or temptations, which was a lot of fun. One of my players, Florence, got roped into buying a Latin-covered book from a vendor who clearly could not read Latin, but he bluffed his way through a wild explanation about California snakes. And when she passed her psychology roll to call his bluff, it turned into a very funny moment. I also had a player jump into the cook-off, and the group had a ton of fun browsing Eddie Fastfinger's shady wares. That whole section offers great flavor and character moments. The overall tone is light and fun, like a dusty fairground, but the scenario drops in just enough tension to keep you aware that something's coming. So let's talk a little bit about how to actually make sure your investigators get the clues to figure out what's going on in this scenario. Since this is written as a sandbox scenario, there is no fixed path your investigators need to follow, and that's part of the fun. I let the players explore Bloodstone at their own pace and use town gossip to my advantage. Everyone's buzzing about the healer's return, the youth serum working wonders, and whether or not Jolly will show his face. Even casual conversations can point players toward deeper mysteries if you let them. In addition, something I found really helpful was I had a friendly NPC, a piano player at Bawdy Bills, who served as a gentle guide. If my players weren't sure where to go next, he would nudge them toward the next key NPC without feeling super forced. It kept the pace moving while still letting them feel like they were driving the investigation. One of the big moments I wanted them to hit was the encounter with Sister Freylin. She's one who witnesses Eleanor's creepy forest ritual, and her account helps reframe Eleanor from charming snake oil evangelist to something a little bit more dangerous. So don't be afraid to steer players toward her, even if it means being a little bit more hands-on than usual, because it's a pretty significant part of the scenario. As for finding the diary, my group actually snuck around Eleanor's wagon while she was making more serum at night, and managed to snag it early. And honestly, it worked out great. The diary gives them a lot of info, but the real challenge is still ahead, which is figuring out how to stop her. And honestly, the scenario is short enough that even early reveals don't really ruin the tension. The climax in the Snake's Oil can go down in a couple different ways, and that flexibility is one of the scenario's strengths. The revival on day 2 is the written big finale, but depending on how your players approach Eleanor, the summoning might kick off earlier. In my game, the players pieced things together quickly and confronted Eleanor while she was making more serum on night 1. Instead of fighting her outright, they tried bluffing and claiming they wanted to join her, but one of them had already taken the serum and was worried that things might happen if things got violent. So I leaned into the chaos a little bit and pulled from the written climax early. Yig appeared, because why not? It's Call of Cthulhu. The more mythos, the better. One investigator struck a deal with Yig to repay the original debt. Instead of just 90 people, she said that she would just give him the whole town, except for a small list of people, which included sparing their own party and their beloved Piano Man NPC. Yig accepted their bargain, and the players immediately regretted it when their NPC spiraled into a quick and deep depression because he was devastated that the rest of the town, family, and friends was wiped out. It was tragic and weird and was a total blast. So my overall tip is don't be afraid to pull parts of the written climax forward if players trigger it early. Keep the momentum from the Snake Festival and the revival alive, and when it's time for things to turn them hard. The scenario gives you plenty of tools. Use them however the pacing demands. Overall, the Snake's Oil was a blast to run. I definitely recommend it to keepers who are comfortable improvising with NPCs and enjoy role-playing a wide cast of townsfolk, because this scenario is packed with colorful characters. It's also great for anyone looking for a fast prep, fast play experience that still gives players room to explore. The highlight for me was absolutely the Snake Festival. There's so much personality baked into it, contests, grifting merchants, weird little temptations tailored to each investigator. If you lean into this section, it can really elevate the whole scenario and help your players get invested before the horror kicks in. The tone has a slightly lighter touch than your average Call of Cthulhu one-shot, which makes it a good pick for groups who enjoy a little humor, a little weirdness, and don't mind things getting a bit goofy before they go grim. It's a strong sandbox with a lot of room for creativity, and I think most groups will walk away from it with some memorable moments and probably a new fear of snakes. If you want to check this scenario out, it'll be linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.